it's worth 10 points. It's an important question. We've set the scene. We know what your business is all about. We've got all that warm, fuzzy stuff that says it's a great business. Now you've got to prove it. Now you've got to start coming up with your facts. You've got to start giving us some really detailed information as to what your business is. We want to know what you've set for yourselves, for your goals for the year. They don't have to be massive. They don't have to be, we are going to achieve miracles this year. They just need to be the goals that you've set that direct your operation of your business for that 12-month period. And you need to then have the strategies and the outcomes. And this is where you've got to have tables. I don't care what others, whether they find another way. We want to see tables. We want to see something that says, our goal for the year was to increase visitation by 4%. The strategies for us to achieve that were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were the strategies that we wanted that we had to implement to achieve our goal. And then these were the outcomes of those strategies. Strategy 1 was we were going to do this sort of, whatever it was going to be, we were going to go out and drag people in off the street and force them to stay in our property. So we went out and we dragged them off the street, but they all turned away and went away again. So it didn't work. We don't mind if it doesn't work. We just need you to tell us that it didn't work. And how did you measure, or how did you understand that it didn't work? Because not everything that everybody does works. So tell us what your strategies are. Tell us what your goals are. Tell us what your strategies are, and tell us what your outcomes are. And your outcomes are incredibly important, whether they're positive or negative, because we want to know that you're actually measuring them. It's fine to say, yep, we wanted to earn an extra $20,000 for the year, and we earned $19,000. Yep, that's great. That's a really positive thing. We want to know how. So it shows how important those three things are together. You can't just go with two, and you can't go weak on one. They've all got to be positive. They've all got to be strong. They've all got to be clear. We don't want to be making assumptions. I'll go back. And the goals can be about anything. They don't have to be just specific about your business performance. They can be goals that reflect other aspects of the submission, which may need to be put in there as well. You might get to question 4 and it might talk about your staff training, but one of your goals might be to ensure that your staff are the most educated in the delivery of your experience or your business that you can possibly get. And so that you run consistent staff training programs, and that the feedback has been that you get 75% or 85% of the feedback you get is positive, or you're getting 97% TripAdvisor are positive about the people who are delivering your experience. So don't feel that this is all about economics and business. It's about that total thing about your business. You want your business to be successful, you want your business to be recognised, you want it to fit into the tourism industry, you want to build a relationship with Tourism Tasmania, you want to do whatever. Put them in as your goals, and try where you can not to put, this is a sample of our business plan. Because we don't actually want a sample of your business plan. We want your business plan. So if you've got to cut it back or abbreviate it, that's fine. But don't leave half of it out because it doesn't fit. Because then we'll start making assumptions. Then we'll start saying, but is that all? Like if you say you want your business to do this, this and this, we're still going to sit there and say, where's those other 4 or 5 things that they're doing? They've got no goals at all about the maintenance of their business. They've got no goals at all about their staff performance. Where are they? Is it just they've only got 3 or 4? And we know 9 times out of 10 that there's more. And this is exactly the same with this one. How often do we get a submission that says, here is a sample of our risk analysis with 4 things, or these are the most significant risks we have in our business. And all that tends to do is start to generate, well, where's the rest of them?
Well, this is the problem I have. We've got 12 pages
yes.
of risks and how we address
yep.
and how our strategies work.
You need to find a way to bring them together in some sort of combined form. And I know it's really tough. And I know if...
No matter which way I do it,
you get
they
criticised.
Still say there's not enough.
Yeah.
I've got something last one. I've got something different last time. The results that I wanted.
No.
Because you got a warning because of the space and what
I,
you're trying to do.
I think you need to acknowledge that you have a plethora of risks that you've identified, that they are that you have been able for the preparation of this submission to bring some of those together in a combined form. So if it's risks associated with a particular part of your business, try and combine them. Try and bring them in that we have risks associated with the transport of people from one place to another. We don't necessarily need to know about whether they're going to trip over a cord or whether they're going to fall overboard or whatever the case is, but you've got a variety of risks, you've recognised them, and you need to try and bring them into a more combined manner. Again, if you find you've got 12 pages, give them to someone else to have a look at. Flick them to us if you want to.
I know, there's 12 pages of risks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But if we might be able to say, look, this is a way you can combine 6 of those and deliver it in a more concise manner. But yeah, we want it. We don't. I understand exactly what you're saying, but the risk we take is that you'll say to us, as I said before, this is a sample of our risk assessment. Now, that might be that, yep, we're actually telling you that, but there's bugger all else. Or, yes, there's so much we've got ourselves confused. We want to see, I think we want to know that you've got a comprehensive knowledge of all aspects of your business and the risks associated with it. We also want to see some outcomes, I think, with this as well. So that I know we've identified that by moving this to here is going to be a risk. So we've decided that if we move it to there, but we move that over there at the same time, that's going to mitigate that risk. And in the past 12 months, that by doing that, we have reduced injury or loss of business or something by 2%. We want to see some outcomes. Now, it might be only 1 or 2. It might be that you can find 1 or 2 outcomes in that whole risk assessment or risk analysis of your own. If you can find 1 or 2 things that you've implemented that are different, that have had an outcome, it's like the business plan. If you've got goals and strategies and the outcomes don't work, there's no good having a risk assessment if it's all just about, oh yeah, we've identified them and it's all fine. There has to be that innovation.
Don't concentrate on OH&S. Business risks are highly important. A lot of the businesses I meet over time just concentrate on OH&S.
Yeah, and I think, again, I'd like to think, well, certainly from a national perspective and very much majority from a state perspective, is that most of the judges have been involved in this before. So they've read good and bad. And if they read a risk assessment, and this is the one where people get into all sorts of trouble, if they read a risk assessment and they don't believe it, or they start to look for the things they think should be in there, you're in trouble. And that's going to have an impact on your points. Now, it shouldn't. In reality, the judges should read and judge by what's in the document. But again, they're human. They've been through the process before. They've just read 4 other submissions that have got incredibly good, comprehensive risk assessments. Then they get to yours, and it's abbreviated or it's cut back or it doesn't quite meet the mark.
Because maybe it's a different type of business, and therefore they don't have as many, listed risks.
Yeah.
We've done ours properly.
Yep.
We've got 12 pages.
Yep. Yep. But again, I think that's part of the story you have to tell.
Yeah.
And it's part of the story we want to hear, that you have assessed every aspect of your business, and these are the categories that you've identified as potential risks. These are the strategies that will address some of these things. But we want to know that you've gone through it all. We don't want to... I think there are probably a lot of businesses who write their risk assessment as part of writing their Tourism Award submission, because they don't have it in the first place. So it needs to... I think you just need to probably review this question over and over again and get it right, to the point where you're comfortable with it At the end of the day, you're not necessarily going to get every judge that's going to agree with everything. But that's the same with everyone else's submission, and it's the same with every question. There will be fluctuations, and that's why we have 3 judges in every category, judging each of them. And that's why you'll get responses from judges that will differ. You'll get one judge saying something's good, and you'll get another judge saying it's not all that flash, and you'll find a compromise. So if you get a response from a judge, and we've met with our judges, and we've told them, we've met with some of our judges this year, and we've said, we don't want any more of the nice, good stuff. We want you to be honest and tell people really what you think about their submissions. And you'll get enormous discrepancy from people who will have different views about different things. Take them all on board. Take them all on board. They're not there to criticise you because they don't like you or they don't like your business. They're there to provide that sort of criticism because they want you to win.
Well, that's true. Like, I found in a lot of the questions, 2 judges, wonderful, this is wonderful, the third one, completely the opposite. Which do you...
I'd look at the one that was completely opposite to start with, because I think wonderful's just a cop-out. Let's be honest and let's look for them. And it's probably part of our process is to try and help you improve. And if we can do that, well, geez, that makes it...
Question risk in any, it doesn't matter whether you're a tiny little business or a huge business.
Yeah.
This is where you can work on because it's identifying all those issues. You know, it could be, you know, it's not just the big issues, it's the tiny issues that can really affect your business.
Yeah.
So the whole team.
Yeah, and it is business. It's not just physical risk. It's not just a risk about someone's going to fall over, trip over, do something. It's what are the risks associated with my business? What have I got? Have I got processes in place that if the world collapsed tomorrow and airline strikes or whatever, what have I got that's going to help me get through a tough economic time? So, as I said, take advantage of the opportunity again if you want us to look at. We don't want to go through your 12 pages, and we won't go through it and say, oh, we think this is wrong and that's wrong. We'll say, I think there's a way we can help you compile that in another way. And then you can say, well, stuff that I don't like it, I want to do it this way. We don't.
I constantly hear from judges that this is the question for them that sorts out the really good submissions from the middle of the range submissions. There are a lot of judges that they get to this question and they say, this is it, this is where I'm going to find out. You know, everyone's really solid on knowing their product, knowing what they do, their services and facilities. Most people have got a pretty good handle on their business plan and what they're trying to achieve. The risk is where a lot of judges find out how much people really know about their business and how much they've really thought about it and planned for it.
And again, there are a plethora of ways and means of presenting them. Present them in a way that is easiest for the person who's reading it to read it and understand it. And charts are important, tables are important, graphs are important. Don't go overboard, make sure they're clear and legible. At times I find someone's put a graph in it and it's sort of that size and you can't actually read the table underneath it. Waste of space, don't put it in.
And explain it. Don't just put a table in there and that's my whole answer to the question. You've got to explain what the table is demonstrating. Tables and graphs should be there to support your answer but not be the entire answer.
Again, I think with the risk mitigation, I reinforce, give us some outcomes. Give us a couple of suggestions as to how you've changed something or addressed something that may have come up during the year, that as a consequence of something happening in your business or external to your business, you've realised that in fact your 12 pages of risks, there is now a 13th page because as a consequence of something that's occurred, you've identified a couple of other risks, you've put in a mitigating strategy, and the outcome is you've addressed it. Then we start to say, hold on, these people are right on top of their business. They are picking things up, they are fixing them, they are attending to them, and they are making sure that they are addressed. And I think that that's really important. I find this one interesting because I think people tend to get a little inhibited by it, a little restricted, don't want to pump their tyres up too much. For God's sake, pump your tyres up to the nth degree. Tell us about your involvement in the tourism industry. Tell us about how active you are as a tourism operator, tourism business, a participant, an active participant in the tourism industry. Don't tell us that you're a member of Destination Southern Tasmania. Even though you might be, and it's really good and you should all be members of Destination Southern Tasmania. Don't tell us that you're a member of Destination Southern Tasmania and expect us to give you any accolades for that. Because all that's saying is I've paid membership to something and I'm a member of it. Who cares? Everybody pays membership to something. We want to see the stuff you do. We want to see that you're an active member of Destination Southern Tasmania, that you're on the committee of Destination Southern Tasmania, that you attend their industry workshops, that you participate in their industry events, that you are an active participant in the Tasmanian Visitor Information Centre in Hobart, that you go in and you talk to the staff and you provide for meals and educations for them, that you are an active participant in road shows, that you provide your facilities and your product for the state government to use at their discretion. We want to see, I saw the word here before, maybe I did. Active participation. So often we read submissions and they say, yep, we remember this, we remember that, we remember the local tourist association. And then I sit there and think, yeah, and I know a few people in our region that are members of local tourist associations, and God, there's a business in, I think it was New South Wales, and they filled out their submission, and I got to this particular question. I can't remember whether it was worth 4 or 5. I think it's funny, it was 4 or 6. It got, without question, it got full marks. Now I very rarely give anybody full marks. I'm one of these 50 and 60% people. I'm pretty tough when it comes to scoring because I get frightened that suddenly someone's going to come out and they've got to be up here. Now they got 6 because they started to talk to me about the fact that they'd moved into the community, had come from the city into a regional area. She was a qualified accountant. He was a graphic designer. They got involved with the local tourist association. She was then the treasurer of the local tourist association. He was doing all the graphic design work for the local tourist association. They were engaging with the rest of the community and they were running workshops on graphic design and financial management for their operators. They were active but they didn't go beyond their local community. They didn't go into the state body or whatever. But what they did in their own backyard was just outstanding. You couldn't take points off. And they pumped themselves up. And they also did what I would encourage all of you to think about is that they used third-party endorsements. The chairman of the local tourist association said these 2 people were the most important people to the success of their local tourist association. It wasn't them saying it, it was someone else saying it. I was reading through the Sapphire submission, and again, you'll all have a chance to look at it. And in the first couple of pages, there's something about the incredible wine list, as mentioned by Leo Schofield or somebody. It's that third-party endorsement that's incredibly important. This is a great opportunity to do that. This is a great opportunity for the CEO of your local organisation or a colleague, your next-door neighbour, your operators that you work with to say how important you are to the tourism industry. It does say active, it says active. I found the word active. Pump yourselves up. For those who go beyond the local tourist association, and there are a number of you in the room, reinforce that too. Reinforce your links to the state tourism body, your links to national and state organisations, your relationship with them. Let people realise that, yep, you are a crucial player in your community and your industry within your own backyard, but you also go beyond. Anne?
As long as you understand how it contributes to the success, not just a list of all the things you
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
You have to know why you're doing how it affects your business and the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a key point. With all of these questions, there are multiple parts to all of them, and so often people will just demonstrate your involvement and contribution to the tourism industry. And it doesn't matter how much you're doing and you've put on in that submission, if you haven't explained how it contributes to the success of your business and the tourism industry as a whole, you're only ever going to get a third of the possible marks because you just haven't answered the whole question.
Yep, that's very true. So, again, I would encourage you to go back and look at the brackets at the end of each question. Recognise the importance of that 10-pointer at the start, but also commit to addressing the others. And make sure you cover each and every part of it. And, as I said, don't hesitate to pump yourself up. Pump yourself up, pump those around you, pump up your staff. The staff are really important. I think occasionally we tend to forget the staff's role in this as well. The fact that if the submission's been written by an owner or an operator, don't forget the role your staff play in that activity within local tourist associations and local communities as well.